See, what y'all don't know, or y'all must have forgot, like Roy Jones, is I got videos with major heavy hitters, you heard? Tony Yayo, you heard? Conway, I'm sorry. Westside Gun, I'm sorry. I don't want to hear nothing else about it, you heard? Watch my video with Jada Kiss, Swag on Pluto, Fire, MTV Action was on that, you heard? Watch my video with Jim Jones. MTV Action was on that. Y'all got to do the history on the kid LAZ. You heard? If you need them rap collabs, get at me, bro. I got you for the low. Hear it? Yo, and make sure y'all go to genpop.store and get that merch. You heard? That's genpop.store. We got a little bit of everything. And for y'all dudes out there, that's my size, but be wanting a 5 and 6X, bro. This ain't a Cash Money Records video shoot. You heard? It's 2022. You heard? Slim that up, bruh.
If anybody ever been sprayed with that orange pepper spray, son, that stuff made from Kanye, son, that was the worst. I thought I died, son. Yeah, so I was playing a little ball, and so dude threw up the ball like to throw me like a oop or whatever. I could catch the oop, but I could catch the joint and, you know what I'm saying, and lay it. When I catch it in the air, I could catch it and then just lay it in. I couldn't catch it and flush it or nothing, but I could catch it and lay it in. I still had a little legs on me or whatever. So he threw it up, I caught the joint, and I like tried to lay it in, but when I came down on somebody's foot and broke my foot. You feel what I'm saying? So my foot was actually fractured, but I didn't know how bad it was. But when I came down on it, I heard it snap, and it was in so much pain, bro. I was in pain. So I'm knocking on the window to tell the police to come because I need to go to medical. So they come and get me, and I hop all over to medical. And when I get there, the doctor was like, yo, I got to pay $10 for him to see me. And I'm like, yo, pay $10 for you to see me, bro? He's like, yeah, because you're a federal inmate. I said, bro, I have an emergency. I need to be seen. This is an emergency. I got to pay for an emergency, bro. This is not no regular, like, call out or nothing. Like, no regular, me putting for sick call where I got to pay for it. No, bro. This is an emergency. I just broke my foot, I think, bro. Can you see me? He's like telling them I got to sign the papers. I'm like, I'm not signing nothing. I told officer, man, take me back to the block. I'm in pain. I'm ready to smack the doctor's teeth out of his mouth. I'm like, yo, man, the officer took me. I said, yo, bro, take me back to the unit, bro. Take me to my unit, bro. So he's like, all right, man, come on. So he's like, I'm taking him back to the unit. So he going and he started walking me down a long hallway back to my unit. So as I'm walking, I'm hopping. He grabbed my arm. I'm like, yo, bro, don't grab my arm. I got this, bro. Don't touch me. He's like, yo, man, just come on. So he said, you don't got to talk to me like that. I said, you don't got to touch me, bro. Don't touch me. Don't grab my arm. I didn't ask you to help me, bro. Don't touch me, bro. So he's like, yo, just come on. He said, you keep it up, man. I'll tell you, you could go right there to the shoe. I said, I don't care about no shoe. What you think man, I don't care about no shoe, bro. Who you think you talking to, bro? So he's like, okay, so as we was walking by the block, because my block was D block, so we had to walk by S and E, and you got to go through S. They open up the gate to go through E block to go to the shoe. So he's like, yo, when we walk by there, he's like, yo, crack the gate, crack F gate. So he said, come on in. I said, well, you ain't saying nothing. So I hopped up in there. So he told him, crack the shoe gate. So the gate start opening. When the gate start opening, he grabbed me by my arm again to pull me in there. So when he grabbed me by my arm, I pieced him up. I gave him like a 5-6 piece. You feel what I'm saying, son?
The police?
Yeah, son. Come on, son. He grabbed my arm. As soon as he grabbed my arm, I told him, son, as soon as he grabbed my arm, I caught him. Bing, 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 bing. Son, I caught him all in the forehead, son, too. Right? Boom, right? So I rocked him. So I rocked them with a nice little, little light 6-piece, no fries, right? And then when I did that, they came out the thing, and I walked in right at the shoe gate was open. I just walked in there, and they locked me in there and pressed the alarm. He slid up out of there, so I'm locked in there by myself. All them dudes in the shoe cell. It's a table down there. I guess when they let dudes out the cell, they sit at like a kitchen table, like it's, with the seats on them, 3 on one side, 3 on the other. So I remember my leg is hurt. So dudes like, yo, they all wilding out because they seen what happened. Because remember the shoe gate was open, so dudes seen what was going on. So they're like, yo, yelling like, yo, the shoe gate, what's going on? So I'm up in the joint. I sit down at the table. So when I'm sitting at the table, they all rush in there now. The police come in with the captain and all of them, whoever they are. When they come in there, they got a big bottle of pepper spray. It looked like a what you call them things? A fire extinguisher. That's how big it is, like a miniature fire extinguisher, son. I'm like, what the heck is that? They got that joint. He's like, get up, get against the wall, get against the wall. I'm like, yo, listen, Captain. I'm like, yo, listen, man, your officer put his hands on me. He said, you put your hands on my arm. I said, your officer put your hands on me, man. My foot is broke. He put his hands on me. I'm sitting there trying to talk to him, lads. I'm like, yo, he put his hands on me, bro, da-da-da. He had no business. I'm talking, and I was like, yo, yeah, Captain, you gonna spray me. You just do what you gotta do, but I'm letting you. As I was talking, he sprayed me. Son. What you call that stuff? Mace or nothing like that, son. It wasn't mace, yo. Or nothing like. This was pepper spray. This was that orange pepper spray, son. If anybody ever been sprayed with that orange pepper spray, son, that stuff's made from cayenne, son, that was the worst. I thought I'd die, son.
Yo, my nigga 16 to life. That's
son.
Another YouTuber on here. He got an episode where he said he got sprayed with that shit. He said that shit was like hell on earth, nigga.
Son, they sprayed me with that joint, son. I didn't know what the hell. I was blind. I couldn't breathe. They took me. They dragged me to R&D, to the reception area. Like when you first come in, like, you know, when you first come in for court or whatever, took me over there. They had a shower over there. They threw me up in the shower to try to help me. I couldn't breathe in the water. They got the stuff on me. My whole body burning up. I'm blind. I can't breathe. I think I'm going to die. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what the heck going on. Next thing you know, they got me up in the shoe. I'm up in the cell. They got me butt naked with a doggone carton, with a whole crate full of carton milk. And told me, they locked me in the cell and told me to take the milk and pour it on my body. It's supposed to cool me down, cool the stuff down, everything. My balls, my behind, everything is burning. My underarms, my ears, everything is burning, son. Because they put me in the shower, so all the stuff did was run down my body. And then my whole, listen, son. Son, they got me, son. So now I'm in the shoe. I'm what's the name? So the dude, like 2 days later, they wrote me the shot for all of the stuff, for the assault, police, and all of that, whatever. He come to the cell, he hollered at me. He's like, yo, I'm not going to press charges against you. He showed me the little knots on his forehead and all of that. He's like, yo, man, he said he would have looked at my thing, because I was already sentenced then. I had my little 30 piece or whatever. And he was like, he came and, you know, he told me, you know, we was talking and stuff, and he was like, yo, you know, we both, you know, kind of like apologized for the aggression or whatever. But, you know, he took in his stride. They smashed me with some time to go to the shoot. But he could have pressed charges on me, because they asked if he wanted to press charges on me. He could have gave me, you know what I'm saying, a case. He could have cased me up. But he was like, nah, he showed me the knots and everything. He took off his little baseball cap and showed me the knots and everything I put on his forehead. He was cool about it. I mean, but, you know, I pieced them up or whatever, and they wound up sending me to that shoe I told you about, where they take everything from you. So I'm going from that shoe with the phone in it, and they sent me to that shoe, and that shoe was torture. I used to be in there, bro, kicking the doors, man, begging the police to give us jelly packs, because we was in there starving. They starve you in that joint. Kicking the door like, yo, please bring us some jelly packs, something, man, I'm hungry. Gotta get the jelly pack.
That shit
Yeah,
that shit
man.
Fucked up, man. How they be doing niggas in them boxes, man. Real
Son,
talk.
I was so starving in this, and I started hallucinating, son. I had a dream that I was Spider-Man, son. Real talk. No joke, son. I got up, son. I woke up, son. I had to sling a web on the wall, man. I ain't lying, bro, man. I was so, it's like when you on the desert, son, and you so hungry, son. They starved you in there, something real, son. I was sleeping, I was in there, and I'm dreaming. I'm thinking, and I'm like, yo, I'm Spider-Man. And I know something that happened, and I had caught the villain, and I had webbed him up and hung him from the store, right? And I went in the store, and I was trying to buy something from the store, and all the people was clapping. It was like, yo, it's Spider-Man. He just caught the villain. They was like, go to the front of the line. So everybody let me go to the front of the line in the store. And next thing you know, I woke up and I felt like I was still Spider-Man. I was like drowsy, and I looked at the wall, and I looked at the hand, and I went and like put my fingers like you try to string a web, and ain't nothing come out. And I was like, yo, I'm tripping. I'm like, yo, I gotta get something to eat. Yeah, man. But that was my story, son, about, you know, little excursions I had in that little prison, man. Right. I had that.
So let me ask you though, how long did it take before that pepper spray finally wore off? Did the milk shit work?
Son, I guess everything was time. I don't know if the milk stuff worked. It probably did, because I used the whole cart, the whole crate. You know, the crate be having like, what, 24 milks in it? You know what I'm saying? 36 milks in it. I used that whole thing with busting them things open, son, just pouring them things on me, trying to cool me down, son. And after a while, you know, it wore off or whatever, you know. But through that night, that joint was still burning. It was, you know, constantly wearing off. Like, you instead of cleaning it off with water, you gotta clean yourself off with milk, I guess. Yeah, that's what it was, son. And yeah, man, Warsaw was something different, bro. But like I said, I kind of like dominated that spot because it was a little county jail. So when I be getting locked up in them other states and we going to them county jails, son, I ain't gonna lie, I be rapping. I be like, ain't no way. Because if you rep on the island, son, it's like if you rep on the island, son, imagine a borough jail holding you, like Brooklyn. Now, Brooklyn House is kind of rough, Bronx House is rough, but still, if you rep on the island, son, Brooklyn House, Tombs, Navy Yard, you know, all of that West, all of them other people, Bronx House, all of them Queens House, all of them borough jails is play to you. You feel me?
Sure,
if you that was thriving in spots like the Beacon and thriving in HDM and C95, and you thrived in them real rough spots, it's like people tell you, like, you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Like, you can make it in the streets in New York, they feel you can make it anywhere. So it's like, you can make it in New York City prisons and thrive, and the reason why you got to be able to thrive, because there's so much different people. You got to remember, New York is so overpopulated. The way prisons in New York populated, son, it ain't like that in other places, son. You feel me? Because especially places like California, like big states, you feel me? Like California, Texas, you know, Chicago.
Right, so them other like little cities and shit, it might be 5 real niggas in the whole jail. That's really...
Yeah, son. So you go to a little county jail, son, the whole jail got 500 people. Or the whole jail got 200 people. You feel what I'm saying? You go into your unit, you got 30 people in your unit, 60 people in your unit. And you used to be in a unit with 300 people, 250 people. You feel what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's like, yeah, you're in a small unit, you know, whatever. But prison is prison. You feel me? And, you know, you gotta, you know, wherever you go, if you're a real dude, son, wherever you go, man, dude's gonna recognize that, son. You're a real stand-up man, son. You're gonna live anywhere, son. You know that. You know that. You're gonna live anywhere because you ain't gonna have it. You ain't gonna have it. You're gonna be like, yo, whatever I'm standing on, I'm gonna stand on it, and I'm gonna die on it, and it is what it is. You feel what I'm saying? And you're gonna like, yo, first dude get out of line, I'm gonna pop his head off, I'm gonna hit him with something, I'm gonna take a tray, I'm gonna split his head in the middle, I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna bust him in the head with it, I'm gonna make this here, I'm gonna sharpen it, I'm gonna stab him in his eye, I'm gonna do something, and every time, and I'm gonna go to the shoe, and then every time I get out the shoe, every time a dude violate, say the smallest thing, I'm gonna pop his head off, and then reputation gonna build, and then you ain't gonna have no more problems, because dude's gonna be like, oh, son be wildin'. Don't mess with him, and dude's gonna respect you, and that's how you build your reputation, and dude's gonna leave you that mess alone. And you're gonna be able to do your bit in peace. And that's basically how it be. Unless you just want to be on some troublemaking stuff, or you want to use your, you know, your power for evil or whatever. Some people use their power for good, because with great power comes great responsibility. And some people got reputations and they use it to like stop fights or to stop beefs or stop one dude from stabbing another. They use their influence or whatever. So they use their powers for good. Some use it for evil. It's like, yo, I'm going to go ahead and I'm tough and I'm more dominant and I push my knife. So I'm going to rob dudes. I'm going to extort dudes and I'm going to take dudes' weed and I'm going to do this and do that. So it depends on, you know, the character you are, you know. Good versus evil. You know how it go.
But
life, bro.
Yeah, so.
So I was like, I was mad, son. I went, son, I got my ox on me. You know what I'm saying? I got no knife on me, but I got the ox on me. And I go right up into his unit, man, looking for him. Like, man, where this stupid dude at, man? So I go up here, up in the card room. Because it's just a really short story, you know what I'm saying, my man, he wanted to become a blood. He's from Coney Island. He was from D.C. I mean, he was from New York, but he caught his case in D.C. He's a youngster and had got a quarter. So when I met him, he already had like 17, 18 in. You feel what I'm saying? So, and he came in when he was like 17, 18. So he was like 35, 36 already with you know what I'm saying? With that time in. But he came in as young, so he was there. Son was alright, Son was from Coney Island. He used to like favor the blood dudes or whatever. You know, he was favoring them, and you know, they was all right. You know, or whatever, and you know, he wound up dude Preem. I was in his shoe, right, and that's a whole nother story, right? I went to the shoe, right. This was before, I went to the shoe this time when prison first opened. I was the first person to get caught in that prison with a knife. I got caught with 3 knives, right? 3 ice picks, 3 big bone crushers, right? They found them in the cell of the wall of my cell behind the sink, right? And I was in a shoe form, whatever. I wound up getting out the shoe, did the time, whatever, came out the shoe. They left me on the compound, came out the shoe. Preem was there, and this is before the actual charges dropped on him, before they dropped the charges on him for Hellman Irvin them. Before I was actually with him when the charges dropped. Before he was doing a little 18 months or 3 years, whatever they had gave him for the pistol charge when he got caught with the gun in the Jeep or whatever up in New York. But they still had all of the evidence. They was trying to build a case against him with Irvin. They still, he was in the process of being indicted for that, and they was just using them cases to hold him. So when I got out the shoe, son was there, and you know, I never met Son before. You know, everybody here Preem or whatever. So I never met Son before, and I see Son, and you know, Son is a cool dude. Yo, he's sitting at the New York table because you know we all from New York, so we all sit together. So Son sitting with he went to New York with, but he really used to, even though he was with the New York concept, the New York dudes, he used to mess with the Baltimore dudes, like the older dudes from Baltimore, because I guess at that time he was out there. You know, a lot of dudes from Baltimore, so he used to be rocking with some of them, was cool with them or whatever. And Son was a funny dude because Son used to go on these diets, like they used to be salad diets. Like you be salad, like he be salad. You see him, like, go Preem, what up? You be like, he ain't talking and show you a note, and he be on a 24-hour diet where he don't speak at all. You feel what I'm saying? And Son used to be like playing it. His thing was basketball. He played one-on-one basketball against the youngsters. You know what I'm saying? Like that. That's what he used to do. But Son was there, you know, dudes know him, know his name, and Son got a big reputation, you know, basically throughout, you know, the criminal underworld, in prison, whatever, which is a microcosm. And so when I get out the shoe, you know, my co-defendant there, a couple of dudes, my co-defendant there, he blood, he 5'9" Brand, a couple of other blood dudes there, a couple of dudes there, a couple of Crip dudes, everybody sitting at the New York table, and, you know, dudes is there, and, you know, we from Brooklyn. And, you know, Preem and them is from Queens. And, you know, the dudes there that's from Brooklyn is like, yo, we gangsters. And Preem is a dude, he a G and all of that, but dudes ain't gonna be like, you know, basically bound down to him or nothing like that, because you had dudes was there, and dudes used to like go to the salad bar, and while he on the line getting his food, they go to the salad bar putting together, you know, food, because you get food off the salad bar too. They go to the salad bar with plates, getting, you know, stuff from the salad bar already, putting it on the table for him, and go already get his juice, go get a cup and fill up his juice already, bring it to the table. So all you gotta do is go through the thing and get his regular tray and come to the table. You know what I'm saying? I ain't salty or nothing. I ain't being mad that dudes was honoring him like that or nothing like that. But I'm not serving no man like that, son. You feel what I'm saying? I don't care who he is, son. And I respect Son. Son, listen, when I talk about dudes, son, that I know, son, I don't cock ride nobody or nothing like that. Or even just like with Big Dirk and none of them dudes, it ain't about me knowing these dudes. When I say I know these dudes, it ain't about me knowing them. They know me. Son know me personally. I met Son and Son know me personally. If you go to him and you say my name Murdah or you say MU to him, Son know who I am. You feel what I'm saying? He know who I am because we developed a small relationship. You know, ain't no big thing, but Son know I'm a gangster. Son know what it is. You know, he was a money man. He knew who he is, and we had a lot of conversations because I asked him a lot of questions about stuff that, you know, I was interested in, that I heard about him and heard about certain things, you know. Hey, you know, because I did have conversations with him. You feel me? On everything, right? But anyway, Son and dudes was kind of like catering to Son, and, you know, was one of them dudes was catering to him, and dudes showed the way because Son's from Coney Island, he's from Brooklyn. And like, yo, Son's from Queens, you know how I be, son. Even though we all together, you know what I'm saying, in the fans or whatever, still, son, you know, we from, you know what it is. So Son's dude was feeling a certain way or whatever. And then plus Son was sympathizing with the Bloods, and he wanted to, you know, basically son wanted to come home. He was trying to get dudes to bring him home anyway. You feel what I'm saying? Because when blood and all that started, he wasn't in the he wasn't in the streets, and then plus he wasn't in the New York system. So he just really getting with dudes from New York coming through the Fed system as blood, and he trying to be blood. You feel what I'm saying? So he sympathized with them. So they basically on his line like, yo, you got to move a certain way if you think you're gonna be, rocking with us. So son was there. So one day we was in there and we was having a conversation about something at the table, and I can't even really recall what the conversation was about, but Preem was there, and son tried to show his behind and stood up at the table, like stood up on me, like, yo, what you talking about? I'm like, yo, son, who you stand? Yo, son, I would put my foot, you know what I'm saying, son, like, what? Beefing, like, all right, son, whatever, son, and all right, son, I'll holler at you, and son stomped out and marched out the kitchen. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh yeah, so he left out the kitchen. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go back to the unit, and I'm gonna go ahead and bring him a move since son wanna act tough. But I know, son, come on, son.
You said y'all was sitting at the table?
Yeah, some of you sitting at the table in the kitchen. We was all sitting together eating, and you know how dudes be conversating at the table and talking spit or whatever. And and me and son was talking, and me and son got into a little, controversy. Dudes be having controversial, discussions at the table. Dudes be arguing about this. You know how I be at the kitchen table. You know what I mean? And dudes all having that little conversation, debating and all of that. And me and son got into a little heated debate, and then son got into his body. And tried to show off for Preem and them, and stood up on me like he was getting in his body, like he really wanted some smoke or something. About, you know what I'm saying? About because me and him got into a little heated debate. You feel me? And it was getting kind of out of hand. And son tried to but it can't get out of hand with me because you can't beat me, because I'm more dominant to you. Like, I would crush you, I would body bag you, I would slay you. You was not even on my level. I would rip your whole head off your shoulders. I would eat you from, son. You're not even. It's like, yo, son. It's like a pit bull against a chihuahua, like that, bro. It's not even a battle, son. And son tried to show his behind on me, son, and they got me real upset because I feel that he was trying. And I'm not saying that that's what he was doing, but I feel he was trying to show his behind in front of Preem and them. You feel me? So he went to the unit. So when I went, he was in the unit. He was actually in Preem unit. You feel what I'm saying? He's in Preem unit. I was in A2, which is on the bottom, and on top of me was A3, and on top of him was A4, and he was in A1. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it goes, like A1, A2, A3, A4. You know what I'm saying? Like that. So if there was buildings or outside, you got to go up the stairs, the outside stairs to go up to the other units, to the 3 and 4. So he was down, him and Premium was downstairs in A1, and I was across the hall. And no, they was at A2, and I was across the hall at A1. You feel what I'm saying? That's how it was. I was at A1, and they was at A2. So let me see, B1, B. Yeah, I was at A1, and they was at A2. So now he goes and he goes. So when I come with somebody standing in front of the unit, and I came and I was in front of the unit. So Mustang said, "You seen somebody?" So who was it? Somebody was out there, and he was like, "You seen?" I was like, "Nah." He's like, "I think he was looking for you." I'm like, "He was looking for me? He was there. He just left the kitchen with me." You feel what I'm saying? What you mean he was looking for me? I said, "Oh, I'm gonna beat you up." So I was like, I was mad, son. I went, son, I got my ox on me, you know what I'm saying? I got no knife on me, but I got the ox on me. And I go right up into his unit, man, looking for him. Like, man, where this stupid dude at, man? So I go up in the card room, upstairs in the little card room, playing some, it's like one of them like TV rooms with no TV in it, just some card tables upstairs. So he was in the little card room. When I walked in there, he was at the table with a dude playing whatever they was playing, cards or whatever. It's him and one other dude. So when I walked in there, he seen me, and I'm like, "Yo, what's up?" When I said that, he jumped up at the table and tried to rush me. When he tried to rush me, I just took him and flipped him, threw him on the floor, and then took the whole table, picked it up, like put the whole table, and picked the table up and smashed him with the whole table. You hear me, son? and son was on the floor. He's like, yo, son, please. And he was like this, and like covering up, please, son, no more, no more. And I was like, son, and I had on the shell toe, you know, the hard toe boot, son. And I was about to kick his teeth out of his mouth, son. I swear, son. I was about to kick his teeth out of his mouth and punish him like that. But son was from the town, and son was a alright dude, but he just got out of line, son. And he was on the floor, balled up, talking, oh, please, Murdah, no. And I told him, I said, yo, son, let me tell you something. Son, if you ever transgress against me again, son, I'm telling you, son, I'm going to rip your face off. I promise you, I will rip your face off. Don't you ever transgress again. And someone's like, all right, son, you got it. You feel me, son? And son, and I stopped myself, son, and I'm glad, son, and I'm happy with all you. I'm glad, son. One reason why I'm glad, because I was gonna kick son teeth out of his mouth, because I had on them shell toe boots, son, and I was gonna kick his teeth out of his mouth, because he was on the floor, and his mouth was right there, and my boot was right there, and I was like, I should kick his teeth, and it was coming to my head. I was like, no. You know what I'm saying? And that's crazy, son. And I kept seeing myself kicking his teeth out. And that, when it happened, it reminded me when I had my man tied up in the crib before, and I wanted to knock his head off, but I had a shotgun and I had a pillow, but I felt like if I shoot him like through the pillow with the shotgun, it was gonna make a noise too loud, and I couldn't really conceal the noise. And I was on the 3rd floor, and the building with no elevator, and I was trying to how I could get out after making a noise and run out the crib with the gun. But when I was doing it, I kept having flashes of the newspaper article. I kept on seeing the newspaper article of me being arrested for a shotgun murder. You feel what I'm saying, son? I kept seeing it flashing in my head, bro, and I didn't kill him, son. And son, but I had him tied up, and I was about to knock his head off, and it's crazy, son. I was young. It was my man. It was a whole nother story, but that's the whole thing that flashed me when what's his name? When I beat up. Flashed in my head, like I kept on flashing me, seeing me. I kept seeing me kicking his teeth out of his mouth, bro. And I had to stop myself. I said, no, don't do it. And I'm like, no, kick him like you got them things, like one angel on one side, one angel on the other, son. And it was one was telling me bad stuff, and the other one, the shaitan, the devil, was telling me to do it, and the good one was telling me no. And I didn't do it, bro. And I spared son, bro. I spared them. And, you know, after that, me and son was still cool. And then I wound up getting transferred a little while after that. That was another story I'll tell you about what happened there. You know what I'm saying? But, how I left. But I wound up when I was in Memphis, Tennessee. I was in Memphis in the Feds. And I heard that son had wound up, what's his name? They wound up bringing son home. You know, to each his own. But, you know, that's what's up. You know, but son was alright, dude. I'm happy I didn't kick his teeth out his mouth, but I bet you never try to show off in front of nobody else again. Not with me around.
When I was around like 4 or 5 years old, I remember my pops beating my moms. That was like ultimate violence. Like I seen them beating her up, like punching her like a boxer beating another man, but beating my moms, yo. And that's the only memory that I really have of them together. Like I don't have no memory of them together intimately. Like when I think of my moms and my pops, I don't think of them like as a loving couple, because I can't remember them holding hands or laying down together or walking. The only memory I have of them together physically is when my pops was beating my moms. Yeah, that's the first act of violence that I probably seen or experienced that was traumatic. Me and my sister was crying. He was like, get off my mother, leave my mother alone. And he was like, get the you know what I mean? He sent us to the back room. We like, we ain't gonna get beat up. But we said something.
Where were you living at this time?
Brownsville, man. On Tapscott. Between Blake and Sutter, man.
So growing up, like, what kind of kid were you? Like, how was your childhood? Like, what age were you when you could say you started kind of going astray?
Well, I'm not gonna lie. For real, I can't. Yo, man, I think if you could be born a criminal, man, I think, man, if anybody really could have been born a criminal, man, I thought I was born a criminal, man, because like my earliest thoughts of me really as a child was like some of the earliest memories that I have is me stealing, robbing, like stealing, like participating in crime, like stealing. I'm talking about like I would steal everything. It's like when I would go, like they would have house parties, right? Like back in the days in the 70s, they would have house parties and all of the grown-ups would be in the room. Everybody would come to the house party and put their coats in the room on the bed. Like whoever house it was, like the coats, they would put them on the bed in the bedroom, like in the bedroom. And me, I would always act like I was sick. Like my stomach was hurting. And they would tell me go in the room and lay on the bed. So I would go in there and I would lay on the bed, and when they closed the door and leave me in there with all the coats, I would go in all of the coats. I'm talking about I was a little kid, man. I was like 4 or 5 years old. I would go in all of the coats, and I would take a little, like if I see a coat with a lot of bills, I would take like one bill out of it. I would go through everything and take one little, like a coin or a bill out of every jacket that had money in it.
So it was it?
And nobody taught me that.
Nobody taught you.
I didn't see that. I didn't see it. That's the thing. I didn't see it. I didn't have nobody in my life that was around me saying like, yo, be a thief, be a robber. I wasn't looking at TV and understanding like criminality or, you know, the difference between like cops and robbers.
Was your father in the streets doing stuff like that? Or was he
like
a street dude? Was your father in the streets like selling drugs, doing crimes like that?
Like my father, not like he wasn't doing crimes. Like I remember the blackout of '77. This is the only, my father always worked.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Like the blackout of '77, that's a big memory for me. And that right there, my father, you know, he was looting. You know, he was a young black man and he was looting. And you know, everybody did that. So, but he wasn't in the street. He wasn't a street guy, you know. He was in the street guy.
Your mother wasn't in the streets?
Nah, she had little hustles, like, you know, like she would take, she was at work, she always worked. But the thing is, she would like hustle as far as like, a lot, like in Brownsville, you had a lot of people that snatched pocketbooks and stuff, and you know, stuff like that. And she like would get the credit cards or stuff like that from the people that snatched pocketbooks, and she would go to the stores and stuff for the people, whatever. Like, you know, of course, she had to look like she was, you know, she was legit. So, and she would bust them down for her, and she would take, because she was smart, she had a college degree, and she would take the GED test for people back then, and you didn't have to do the thumbprint or none of that stuff like that. And she would take like GED tests for people and stuff like, you know.
So when did you start realizing that, you know, Brownsville was filled with kids that do crime?
Summer jobs. Everybody know about summer jobs. You had people that was counselors and all of that. Everybody getting their first summer job when they turn 13 or 14, whatever. They get their blue card and they get a summer job, big counselor at a youth center or something. But anyway, the summer jobs. Everybody go get them jobs and they work. You know, they get them summer job checks. And everybody around my way used to go rob people for summer job checks. They used to be going, they wasn't the ones that was working. See, the people on my block, they wasn't the ones that was working.
Summer youth.
They wasn't working summer youth. They was the ones that was robbing everybody. When summer youth checks came, everybody on my block, all of the older guys on my block was coming through, you know what I'm saying? Like, they just robbed somebody, they coming, you know, they coming through with news. They go up on Utica Avenue, they go everywhere where the check cashing place is at. And they stalk the youngsters going, you know what I'm saying? They stalk the people going to cash their checks. And like, you know, so my hood, the guys, they wasn't the ones working, they was the ones robbing. You know.
How old was you when you could honestly say you took a notice to guns? And what made you, you know, feel like
Well, you know, the gun thing is like, guys around my way always had guns. The guns was always around. Like, they had like 38 specials or a 25 automatic.
And what year was this at the time?
This is like, I'm talking about like 82. You know what I'm saying? Like 82, 83. Like, they had them, everybody, all the old guys, everybody had guns. Everybody knew everybody had guns. They wasn't like, because everybody was robbers around my way. It's like, you from Brownsville, you was a robber. It's like, who doesn't rob? And you from Brownsville, you was a robber. So you growing up around the robbing materials. That's one of them the materials. Yes, it's a trade. Yes, it's a trade. You've got to have the tools in your trade. So if you're a robber, then one of the things you're gonna get is a pistol.
See, let's explain this to people. You know, robbery in itself is kind of a different sport in Brownsville. Because robbery is so vicious in Brownsville that you could be a gangster and somebody will still get the drop on you.
And everybody can get robbed.
You not soft because you got robbed.
You ain't soft because you got robbed. You slept. That's it, man. You got caught. You got caught sleeping. You slept, bro.
And the same dude that got robbed next week,
he might get robbed.
He'll be back.
And he'll rob. Yeah, exactly. You already know. So
it's a different. I want to clarify that because I hear people from other parts of New York City be like, "Oh, yo, that dude soft. He got robbed." Bro, listen, where I come from,
just because you got robbed don't mean you soft, bro.
Where you from, how much work you put in. If you lacking, they'll throw their life away and your life away for that robbery. You understand what I'm saying? And then worry about later who you are and how busy you get and all of that. And this is why a lot of people die in Brownsville.
I remember, I done got robbed now. I got robbed, son. I got robbed when I was young. I got robbed when I was older. And when I was young, I got robbed, and after I got robbed, I joined the robbers. Like when I was 6, 7, 8, I was packing bags and key food. Like in the supermarket, this was our hustle. I wasn't big enough to rob yet. I used to pump gas, I pack bags and key food, pump gas, and I used to hum and bum. Like humming and bumming, it was like when cars stop at the light, I used to go knock on the window, like boom, 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 mister.
How old were you?
I was like probably 6, 7, 8, like knocking on the windows, and they would open the window. What's going on, little boy? Like, excuse me, mister, do you got a quarter? Like that, we call that humming and bumming. Now it was around 9 because you know what? They came out with asteroids. They came out with the first like video games. And you know, we was trying to play video games, so we was trying to get quarters. You know, they had Missile Command and Asteroid, you know, them first video games, you know, in the 70s.
So yeah, in front of McDonald's,
all that, you know. I'm talking about, I used to go up to people and I used to have 4 quarters. And I'd be like, excuse me, sir, do you have $1 for these 4 quarters? And they'd be like, yeah, sure, here you go, yeah. Because everybody probably want to change. So when he goes to give me the $1 and go to change, I snatch the $1 and run with both of them. You know, stuff, yo, it was crazy. All over Brownsville.
So when you got robbed, like,
the first time?
Yeah, like who, like, where was these dudes from? And
they was from Brownsville.
I mean, like, they was from Tapscott?
No, they was from Rockaway Parkway.
So, they robbed you for your packing bags money?
No, yeah, for my packing. I came out of Kiefer. I packing bags in Kiefer. Now, what they was living at is like, it's like the edge of Brownsville before it becomes East Flatbush on Rockaway Parkway. As soon as you cross East 98th Street, you know, which is Brownsville. Because, you know, you got 98th Street, man, it got a history with it. 98, it's the Ville, 11212, man. 11212, man.
And it's one of a zip code.
11213, that's when you got the class and all of that, yeah.
The 90s is Brownsville. Now the 50s,
and not 50s, 40s, that's in Flatbush, yeah.
But the 90s itself, we always considered that the Ville.
Yeah.
And you could tell by how busy they get. You understand what I'm saying? But yeah. So you said, dudes, you had your packing bags money, and what happened?
Well, I packed the bags all day, and I came out because they all used to pack bags too. But then I guess all of the what's the names would be full, all of the aisles. So it probably only was like 4 or 5 aisles. So if you got there first, 5 people got there first, they got there. And everybody else be there waiting for whoever gonna leave. And they like, yo, I got next. Everybody trying to get in to see whoever leave first, they could get the next spot, packing the bags. You know what I'm saying? So dudes always be standing out there waiting for an opening. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I always believe. So one day when I'm going out, I got all my quarters and stuff like that. I got, I'm mad change. I'm stacked up, new bills. I help do little deliveries. I'm doing my thing. So I'm coming out, and dudes came up to me, and they fiend me out. They fiend me out.
They just put you to sleep?
No, they ain't put me to sleep. But they fiend me out. They yoked me up. They yoked me up on one of my pockets and took the thing.
Dudes older than you?
Yeah, they was my age and older. They probably my age bracket. They wasn't older like that. So if I was 8, they was between the ages of probably 7 and 10. In the same age bracket.
So how did you feel? So this was the first time you ever got robbed.
Yep.
And how did it make you feel? Like, what type of thoughts was going through your head after it happened? Like, what did you do? What did you think to yourself?
Oh, I said, these people don't know my moms. So I went and got my mother. And I was like, yo, mom. She's like, what's up? I'm like, cause she know I was hustling. She knew I was hustling. So she was like, what's going on? I'm like, yo, dudes just robbed me. The boys from Rockaway Park just robbed me coming out of Key Food. She was like, what? I'm like, yeah. So she went and got the butcher knife. And we went around the corner on 9-8, you know what I'm saying, right there, 9-8 and East 98th right there in Parks, and right there where Key Food at, or Winter, whatever street that is, and we went over there, we seen the boys, as soon as we seen them, like right there, my mom pulled out that butcher knife and started chasing them. And they ran around the block and she couldn't catch them, they kids. So she chased them, that was it. And then that was it, and she was like, yo, don't let nobody take nothing from you. And I was like, yo, all right. So I was like, yo, how I'm not gonna let nobody take nothing from me if they're gonna be jumping me and stuff like, it's a lot of them. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try to figure this thing out. So the next time I went up to Key Food, and I didn't go inside, even though I could have went in there and got a spot. I stayed outside. And I waited like with everybody else. I even see the boys that robbed me and everything. Everybody out there is waiting. And Phil, I'm waiting with them. And when somebody came out and it was somebody they feel was a vic, and they went to go rob them, I went with them. I just went and joined them. When they was robbing them, I helped them rob them.
The same dudes who had robbed you?
The same dudes that had robbed me, I helped them rob somebody else. So I'm like, yo, it wasn't really like if you can't beat them, join them thing. But yo, I'm not gonna be the victim. I'm gonna be the victimizer, like that. So I just went ahead and I started
put itself on the team.
Yeah, and I went to start robbing with them.
That's
crazy. Like that. And they became some of my better friends in life, like that. As far as like I would, even though they was from around that part, like I always had a connection to them. We was on the island together. I seen them in the streets, and they was 3 brothers at that, and they all dead now. They was from the Ville, but they had moved to East New York later in life.
All of them is dead now.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. I only robbed with them like at Key Food, but I didn't really join them like that. It's just that was my first introduction into robbery. I would start robbing with the guys on my block, on my block actually on Tapscott and around the corner, Howard, and stuff like that, all the guys over there, because they was robbing also. Like I wasn't like them dudes that introduced me to robbery, but they was, they was the ones who introduced me as a part of a robbery. Because I knew dudes around my way was robbing people. I know this is what they did.
On Pickens Avenue?
They robbed on Pickens Avenue. They robbed on the corner of the block. Like if somebody walked through the block and they look like the dudes would run up on them.
And guns, you talking about snatching pockets.
Digging pockets and stuff like that. Because at this time they wasn't really robbing with guns out there like that.
And they were how old out there?
They was 12, 13, 14, doing, strong arm robbery, snatching chains and stuff like that. We wasn't seeing the armed robberies because at that time, because the crack didn't hit yet. The crack didn't hit yet. The big armed robberies that was going on in the hood like that happened when the viciousness came when the money came.
How old were you about when like crack, when you actually saw with your own two eyes that it was something different in the hood and crack was here?
Well, when crack came, I was already hustling in the spots. Like, I remember I was hustling like some older guys, they wanted me to work for them. They was coke dealers. And like nobody on my block was, all the little guys, nobody sold drugs. Cause back then you couldn't really give a kid drugs to sell. You know, this was before the crack era. But it was some guys, some West Indian guys that was drug dealers, and they wanted me to hustle for them. They wanted me to sell drugs. They wanted me to hustle. And the opportunity came to me from people that I knew, and they was like, yo, you want to hustle, make some money selling some drugs? I'm like, drugs? Now, mind you, I never even seen cocaine before. You feel what I'm saying? I never seen cocaine before. You know, I heard of cocaine, but I never seen it before. So, and they want me to sell cocaine. You feel me? So I'm like, you gotta ask my moms, bro. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm like, yo, you gotta ask my moms. So they went to ask my moms. And my moms told them whatever year that I could work, but I think I gotta go to school. So they was like, I could work, I gotta do 12-hour shifts.
You know, Brownsville, Brooklyn is such a poor place that, you know, when we grew up, I knew a lot of friends who their mothers made them sell drugs. You understand? To bring money in. My best friend was one of them at the time, back in the days. You feel what I'm saying? Like, his mother would curse people out. Oh, you put on this bitch son, but you ain't put my son on. You understand what I'm saying? Because when people are poor, they do a lot of wild stuff for money. So you said you made these dudes ask your mother for permission.
Yeah, of course. I can't go and work at a spot for 12 hours. I gotta be home. I got a curfew. I'm a kid. What I'm supposed? I gotta get permission to stay home at night, man. If I'm gonna be selling drugs, it's a 12-hour shift. What are you talking about, bro? I gotta be there. I gotta do my homework there and all of that stuff like that. Yo, bro. And I'm really trying to leave the robbery stuff alone, you know. So it was a new hustle for me that I didn't have to rob every day, you know. So I'm like, yo, shoot, I don't have to rob every day. And, you know, so I'm like, yeah, I'm cool. And that's around the time I start losing, like this is around the time that it really got rough, you know. It really was getting a little rough for me. But I went ahead and I started selling, you know, the cocaine. At that time, the coke was going, they was 20s, and it was an aluminum foil. Like, you know, an aluminum foil, one side is pale, like kind of pale, and the other side is shiny. And they used to wrap up the coke with it, and if it's on the shiny side showing, that means it was a 20 rock. That means the 20 was still rocky. And if it was with the dull part showing, that means it was 20 flakes. That means that it was powdered up, it was already shredded already, and it was powder. That was for like the sniffers or whatever, because, you know, people, they wasn't in the spot yet, crack didn't hit. So now
people was freebasing at
people was freebasing, but
that's
they wasn't. Yeah, but it was nobody. They wasn't coming. They was freebasing, but we wasn't paying no attention to it. We wasn't like, yo, people buying coke. I didn't know what people did with coke. Only I knew that people did with coke was sniff it. I didn't know that people shot coke up. I didn't know all type of other stuff could be done like freebase. I didn't know none of that. All I know is that people sniff coke, right? So that's it. So I used to be in a spot, and I used to work in a spot selling the coke. You know, and you know, and me, you know, I used to do my thing. I used to hustle. They was paying me $150 a week, you know, for 12-hour shifts, for 12 hours.
How old again?
I was 13, like 12, 13, yeah. Yep. Spots back in the days, it wasn't, people didn't come in to a spot. It was like a apartment. You came to the apartment, in the apartment building, knocked on the door, either like the knob came off, it was a little thing under the door, a slot, it was some type of way. You never made physical contact with your dealer.
So when you got paid, you bought that, you kept that money for yourself, or you bought that money home?
No, I bought that, no, they paid my mother. They paid my mother. They wouldn't give me, they paid her whatever they gave her. But me, I don't know what they was giving her, if they was giving her coke or whatever.
So they would pay your mother directly and you just was there working?
Nah, they would pay her for letting me work. They would pay me, so they would try to play me though. Because
both of you?
Yeah, they pay her for letting me work, and they paid me my $150 a week. That's how they started me off. Then it went up to $200. But the way they played me, they would give me a $50 bill with like 100 singles, and give me a big mitt. It made me look like I had a lot of money. You know, I'm poor from Brownfield, so you know they'll come around with the mitt, cause none of them dudes, everybody out there poor, they robbing and they stealing and everybody's starving, bro. And then I'm coming around with a mitt, I'm hustling. They don't know nothing about that. So everybody looking at me like, yo, how dude got this money? You know what I'm saying? Cause none of the dudes my age was into none of that. You know, they wasn't into like nobody was, crack wasn't out, so nobody really was selling drugs like that. So when they seen me and everybody started whispering around on my block, like, what is this kid doing? You know, because everybody, you know, seeing, you know, they knowing about me having money. You know, because everybody know your business in Brownsville. Everybody in everybody business. You know, people talk, they gossip or whatever.
So what was you doing with that money at that age?
Try to take care of my brothers and sisters. You know, I had to help take care of my father was gone. It was just my mother.
Was your house very, like your household was poor, like very poor?
Yeah, we was poor. We was poor.
It was on welfare, like.
Yeah, no, well, at this time, my mother, she was getting public assistance, but she was working. But she was getting public assistance because she was a single mother raising five children on her own. You know what I'm saying? So there's no way that one woman, you know what I'm saying, with a job, you know what I'm saying, can raise 5 children. A one-person salary is not enough to is not enough to raise no 5 children. It's not. It's not.